Name's Ron Johnson. I was born on August 13th, 1950. I had a good life, a very, very good life, especially accentuated with the fact that I met, fell in love with, and married love of my life, Judy Johnson.
We met at Miami University, Middletown, and over at the Verity Lodge, and then we went to Miami, Oxford together.
Proceeded to have a good life until one horrible night, evening of September 13th, on that highway, went left to center backwards and hit a pickup truck. As a result, I am now a C6 fracture, C7 dislocation, complete cut quadriplegic. It affected my life completely, but anything that affects one person does not affect one person alone. It affects anybody who lives with you, anybody who knows you, but especially anyone who lives with you. My wife, my dear lovely wife, went from being married to an able-bodied man to being married suddenly to a quadriplegic. She chose to stay with me, as well as any I've ever seen. And that's made all the difference in my world. Negative limb, we now have to be much more aware of our environment. We can't just pick up and go somewhere. Anytime we want to go anywhere, it's not just, well, let's go there. If you go into the grocery, if you're going, oh Lord, to an event, like a concert or a play, you have to be aware that when you get there, that you have the proper parking place. So hopefully people will respect this and not park too close, so that if it's too close to me, I can't get out anyway, so we don't park there. And she can't drive the car because I'm sitting in my wheelchair, which doubles as a driver's seat. No need to lock in, but this is how I do it. And then when I go on further up underneath the steering wheel, it locks in place.
Wow.
See this box? The positive part is it makes you much more aware of your surroundings. Negative, positive, one and the same. It makes you much more aware of your surroundings, of your people, of your friends. It tickles me to see how people react to someone in a wheelchair. And it still is with me even this day. I've been in a wheelchair for 44 years, and it still bothers me when we're at a restaurant and a server will come up and ask Judy what I want to eat. That bothers me, and I try not to let my feelings about this upset my wife. I'm sure sometimes it does. I try not to, but that's my style. That life is fleeting. Anything can change at a moment. There's nothing special about anybody that keeps them from being a quadriplegic just like me. It can happen anytime to anybody. Don't think it can't. Anytime I talk to anybody, I encourage them to put safety at the top of your list, no matter what you're doing. No matter what you're doing. Not really. Not really. I was actively involved in a lot of physical sports. Bowling, softball, I love softball. And when I couldn't do it, okay, I can't do it anymore. All right, what can I do? It comes down to you focus on what you can do, not what you can't. You focus on what you can't. That's going to work on your mind way too much. What can you do? I can't play softball, okay. Can I drive? Okay. That's pretty cool stuff. Can I drive to faraway places? Can I see these places that I've only dreamed about? Yes, I can. Can't play softball? Okay. I can go to Mount Rushmore. I can go to San Antonio. I can go to Key West. Focus on what you can, not what you cannot. Gave me confidence back. It's amazing, when I first hurt myself, first had my car wreck, broke my neck. I was in a Middletown Hospital for 11 weeks. When I stabilized to the point where I could be actively involved in the start of a physical rehabilitation program, they transferred me down to Good Samaritan Hospital in Cincinnati. I was there for 8 weeks. I asked them while I was there, can you help me do certain things? I've been offered the chance to go back to work. What a carrot on the end of a stick. But to do this, I gotta be able to drive, gotta dress myself, I need a riding splint. And they said, good Sam, it's really admirable, we can't do that. So they shipped me up to Dot Hall for 5.5 months. Dot Hall was a rehab center in Columbus. And I was there for 5.5 months, during which time I learned how to do all of these things, including driving, including riding, dressing myself. And the confidence level was starting to come back. It was starting to come back. But it wasn't quite there, not really, until I went back to work. That's when the confidence came. That I could, wow, I could go head to head with able-bodied people, and I could hold my own. I could be given a job, a responsible job, that people needed to have answers for, that I could take responsibility for. That's when the confidence came, and that's how Armco helped shape my life. It told me at Dot Hall, it's probably going to take you maybe 7 years to get your life back together. Proud to say, with the presence of my loving wife and a loving God, I was able to do this in 3.5. Very proud of that. Shortly after that, I realized that the only reason I was still breathing was because of the presence of a living God in my life. He could have taken me home. He'll call me home sometime down the line. He'll call us all home. We're all waiting in line. Some people don't realize that. We're all waiting in line to go back home. And it just wasn't my time at the time. It'll come to all of us. You're much younger than I, but it'll come to you too. So, I guess shortly after, while I was lying in my hospital bed at Middletown Hospital, I did pray to God, I did. And I asked him, help me walk or roll in your service. I'll do the best, very, very best I can. But just think, let me strike a deal with you, God. Look at the kind of impact I could have on people. If, in a wheelchair, I could go back to work. Look at the kind of impact I could have if people could not just look at me and say, that's Ron Johnson, he's in a wheelchair, he's still alive, that's kind of cool. But if they say, there's Ron Johnson, he went back to work at Armco. He works in a steel plant, in his wheelchair, in his electric wheelchair. He drives in and out of work every day. Look at the further impact that would have. Well, I thought I had a story to tell, but the more I thought about it, who would care? Who cares about me? I'm just some old guy who lives in southwestern Ohio, Who cares what kind of a story I have? But I've seen a variety of doctors throughout my life. And one of them, my dear friend, our dear friend, Dr. Anwar Siddiqui. I was in a routine meeting with him once, had an appointment with him, and everything was going fine. The meeting was, for the most part, over. And he said, well, I need to talk to you, Ron. And I said, what about? And he said, you're the most upbeat person I've ever met, especially considering the fact that you're in a wheelchair. I've never met anybody like you, and I don't understand that. The reason I'm saying that, I wish you would write either a large article or even better, a book for me that I could use when I'm talking to my other patients. You don't write it for you, will you write one for me? I got a patient who committed suicide about a month ago. I've got 2 others who could go in any time. I'm begging you, please write a book for me. Or you can't look at him and hear that and say, that's not my problem. You can't do that. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll write your book, but it's not going to come today. A book is a major effort. It takes a while. I'll write your book, but it'll be a bit. And he said, after that, every time I saw him, every 3-4 months I saw him, how's my book coming? How's my book coming? How's my book coming? I'm proud to say that I finished it and published it like the day before he left Atrium Medical Center.
I was at the teachers union getting ready to go on strike, and some of my friends took me out to the hospital, and I knew that if he lived, I was going to be there because I loved him so much, and I knew that if God let him live, I would be by his side the rest of his life.
Don't give up. Life's a game. Life is nothing but a game. And you're a player in that game. And you will be a player in that game until you take yourself out of the game. Simple as that. As long as you're willing to play the game, you're in the game. And you can't beat this. You're in a wheelchair. You can't beat it. But you can deal with it. That's just the way. Don't give up. Winston Churchill, long time ago, World War II, was quoted as saying, never, never, never give up.